I saw the best gardeners of my generation destroyed by sunchokes, starving, hysterical, and digging, pulling themselves through the dirt at dawn, searching for a way to wrestle free the invasive roots that only grow and grow and grow, who devoted themselves to planting, tending, and vainly attempting to eradicate these chokes that choke everything else, who only a rare few could eat without waves of gastric distress, bloat, cramps, and gas, who envisioned an abundant harvest but were left with yards teeming in unstoppable green, bulging tubers and tangled subterranean stems, who cursed the day they had ever heard the name of that tuberous sunflower, and those who tried to eat it but couldn't stomach the aftermath, who sank all night in the sinkhole of sunchokes, planted too close, too deep, too wide, with hope, with sweat, with soil and endless labor, incomparable blind alleys, trembling hope and letdown, who chained themselves to wheelbarrows for endless hauling from bed to bed on benzodrine, who ate them raw, roasted, mashed, or fried in their own backyard patches, returning doubled over with a fresh torment of an unhappy gut, who drank vinegar out back, or courted death, or purgatoried their intestines night after night, clinging to illusions of a healthy meal. Fantasies of the perfect yield, jolted awake by nightmares and unceasing gas, incomprehensible visions of a sunchoke-filled world illuminating all the stillness and life in between, solidities of tubers, backyard forests of voracious green, who drifted alone through rows of chokes, seeking escape from the underground maze, who believed themselves merely paranoid until sunchokes gleamed in supernatural light, who went on digging through endless hours of daylight or in night cars and secret fields of potato, jazz incarnations of the garden guiding them, who created great suicidal dramas in backyard beds waiting for the next onslaught of chokes, their heads crowned with laurel in oblivion, who ate the lamb chops of their imagination or devoured the crab at the bottom of their dreams, who wept at the romance of harvest with baskets full of chokes and bad soil, who sat in the dust, breathing darkness beneath the droop of sunflowers, and rose up only to curse the day they had ever learned of this cursed plant, who coughed up the 6th day of planting, crowned with despair under the sky of their garden, surrounded by piles of chokes stacked high in their basement, who scribbled all night, rocking and rolling over their gardening plans, which by morning grew into rows of weeds and stanzas of defeat, who cooked rotten chokes, dreaming of a perfect harvest, who plunged themselves under the soil, searching for any way out, who threw their gardening gloves off the roof to cast a ballot against sunchokes beyond Eden's gate, and felt the clods rain down on their heads each day for the next decade, who cut their fingers 3 times while yanking at stubborn roots successively and unsuccessfully, gave up and surrendered to the inevitable invasion overtaking their yards, where they believed they were raising vegetables but nurtured only an infernal nightmare. What unstoppable tuber of creeping greens battered their garden gates and devoured their harvest in delight? Sunchoke, pain, bloat, rot, aching roots and unyielding rhizomes, children wailing under the withered bean poles, neighbors sobbing in the corners of fence-shadowed yards. Sunchoke, nightmare of sunchoke the loveless, tuberous sunchoke the heavy tyrant of small yards, sunchoke the incomprehensible weed, sunchoke the crossbone devourer of joy, and congress of horticultural despair, sunchoke whose kingdom is unstoppable growth, sunchoke the vast empire overshadowing tender seedlings, sunchoke whose mind is pure invasion, sunchoke whose blood is relentless fiber, sunchoke whose fingers are 10 armies of sprouting shoots, sunchoke whose flower is a cannibal sun blotting out better bloom, sunchoke whose ear is a hidden labyrinth of roots beneath the soil, sunchoke whose eyes are 1,000 blind nodules, sunchoke whose towering stems stretch in the yard like endless towers, sunchoke whose leaves choke out precious vegetables, whose rampant rhizomes conquer entire beds, sunchoke whose love is eternal overshadowing, whose soul is the doom of novices, Sunchoke, whose poverty is the gardener's bankrupt toil, whose fate is infinite replication, whose name is invasion and agony and waste. Sunchoke, in which they crouch lonely, sunchoke, in which they gasp for air. Delirious in sunchoke, exhausted in sunchoke, back-broken and hopeless in sunchoke. Sunchoke who arrive too early in spring, sunchoke in which they are conscious, locked in the loam. Sunchoke who terrified them out of orchard reverie, sunchoke whom they forsake, rise from sunchoke, light shrieking over battered rows. Sunchoke, robot gardens, invisible hedges, skeleton tomatoes, blind extension offices, demonic tubers, spectral vines, invincible invasions, monstrous towers of cellulose. They blew out their backs hauling sunchokes to the curb, rakes, clippers, cursed wheelbarrows, piling the yard's lost dreams towards a heaven that would not save them from tuber tyranny. Visions, omens, illusions, fiascos, bodily agony from endless weeding, nightmares, humiliations, illusions, regrets, the entire wheelbarrow of naive optimism, breakthroughs, heartbreaks, floods of exhaustion, rotting in the compost. 10 years of horticultural wails and half-won wars, mines, new despairs, a mad generation smashed upon the rocky soil of unstoppable time, real holy laments on the porch. They saw it all, the savage sprouts crowding out every hope, the monstrous leaves overshadowing joy. They cried farewell, they jumped the fence to solitude, waving battered gloves into the street. Sunchoke, whose altars demand the sacrifice of bright youth, swallowing free afternoons in endless uprootings, devouring the future with each dawn's hopeless dig, enthroning tubers in every abandoned corner. Sunchoke that lures the earnest grower with a false promise of edible artichoke, then delivers unstoppable expansion, intestinal misery, and wasted summers. Sunchoke whose creeping mind would scale the walls of any holy orchard, overshadowing even the revered vines, enthroned in unstoppable savage glory, the final monarchy of tuberous power over every bloom, every dream, every hour of daylight. Carl Solomon, I'm with you in Rootland, where the sunchokes feed on our last shreds of sanity. I'm with you in Rootland, where you press mud-caked fingers against your eyes and rage at the endless stalks. I'm with you in Rootland, where your nightmares are haunted only by the knotted ghosts of roots. I'm here with you in Rootland, where you ripped up every hopeful garden diagram in a frenzy of twisting tubers. I'm with you in Rootland, where you roar with hysterical laughter at green shadows slithering beneath the surface. I'm with you in Rootland, where we scribble our rebellion on a single dog-eared page, trembling with half-broken pencils. I'm with you in Rootland, where your name is muttered under breath by neighbors, broadcasting grim warnings on late-night podcasts. I'm with you in Rootland, where the last scrap of reason buckles beneath the creeping tide of sprouts. I'm with you in Rootland, where you gulp bitter water down from the silt of undone dreams. I'm with you in Rootland, where you snarl at these towering stalks, calling them your blood-bound tormentors. I'm with you in Rootland, where you flail in a net of tattered wire, losing the final serve in the endless ping-pong of trowel versus tuber. I'm with you in Rootland, where you pound on an overturned wheelbarrow like a catatonic piano, pleading for your soul not to be consumed by relentless green. I'm with you in Rootland, where 50 more howling frosts can't break your mania for conquering the invader. I'm with you in Rootland, where you curse the so-called experts as traitors and vow an uprising of spades against the fascist sunchoke. I'm with you in Rootland, where you swear to slice open the greenhouse plastic and resurrect empty soil from that tuberous crypt. I'm with you in Rootland, where 25,000 delirious growers chant the final lines of Free the Dirt under a sky that grants no mercy. I'm with you in Rootland, where we cling to each other in the rattling dark, the chain-link fence drumming a merciless beat, denying us sleep. I'm with you in Rootland, where we startle awake, electrified by our own unseen bombers roaring above, dropping seeds of deliverance. The yard flares with light. Imaginary fences fall. O twisting rhizomes, reel in terror. O star-shot jolt of mercy, the eternal conflict reignites. O triumph, cast off your gloves, we are free. I'm with you in Rootland. In my dreams, you rise at dawn, tears shining on your face. Slip through that strangled gate and cross into a garden lush and free, blossoming beyond the tuber's dominion, unchained at last.